Okay, so you should have the notes for graphing parabolas in Desmos. If you don't, ask me and I will send you the link for this. But these notes are basically your step-by-step instructions on how to graph a parabola. So you're going to write your parabola at the top of your page, and you're using your notes for graphing parabolas. So we are going to have some sentences here as part of the work. So step 2 or line 2 and line 3 say the y coordinate for all x-intercepts is 0. So if you remember, we did a chart and we looked at a lot of parabolas, and we noticed that for all the x-intercepts, we noticed a lot of things, but we noticed that the x-intercepts all have a y coordinate of 0, if they have a y coordinate, right? So then we're just going to substitute 0 for y and solve for x. So you were writing that out as part of this assignment. Now, you might be saying, where's y? Well, this is the same as me writing y equals x squared, minus 11x plus 18. So we're substituting 0 for y and solve for x by factoring using an area model. So yes, that has to be a part of your work that you send to me. Then you're going to factor whatever your expression is. And your expression is coming from the Khan assignment. So don't send me x squared minus 11x plus 18. Your equation is coming from quadratics by factoring intro in Khan. So you're using Khan to get your equation. Don't do the same exact one as me. If you happen to get this one, go ahead and do it on Khan and then just get a different one so that I know you can do it by yourself. Okay, so I'm going to factor x squared minus 11x plus 18. You are going to factor whatever equation you get from Khan. So your x squared and your constant are going in opposite corners. And your x term is, so you're multiplying these to get the top of your diamond. Your x term is going on the bottom. And then you're looking for factors of your top that add up to the bottom. So for me, it's going to be 2x and 9x, negative 2 and 9x. So if you need help or support with this process, let me know. Let's get you up to speed. You do have to show your work to get credit on the test. If you just give me the answers and don't show me any work, you will not get credit. Okay, so my equation is going to factor into and I'm just bringing down, oh, I forgot to put the 0 right here. Let's see, let's write that right here. 0 equals x squared minus 11x plus 18. So we're putting a 0 in the place of y, and we are solving for x. And the way you solve for x when you're dealing with a quadratic is you factor it. So mine factored into this, whatever yours factors into, you're going to have 0 equals and then your two factors. So don't forget to put this part. Basically everything I have on my paper, you need on your paper. You're just going to have a different equation. And if you get it wrong, it's okay. We'll keep working together. We'll get it figured out eventually. Okay, now we are using zero product property. So zero product property says if the product of several numbers is 0, at least one of the numbers must be 0. So on this one factored into 2x minus 3 and x plus 4. So that quantity, 2x minus 3, times this quantity, x plus 4, equals 0. Well, if you're multiplying two quantities together and getting 0, at least one of those quantities, at least one of those amounts is 0. So let's write zero product property. And yes, you do need the written part. Let's see, I shortened this today when we did it. What did I write? Says at least one of these factors must be 0. So this is a factor, x minus 2 is a factor, x minus 9 is a factor, and we're using zero product property to find our x-intercepts. So all of this is to figure out these x-intercepts. So either x minus 2 equals 0, x minus 9 equals 0, or in this case, both equal 0. If x minus 2 is 0, then x equals 2. If x minus 9 is 0, then x equals 9. So these are my x-intercepts. And I know that this is going to open upwards because remember when we were just starting to look at all these parabolas, we noticed that if the leading coefficient was positive, these are all in standard form. They're all in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. If that coefficient of x squared, a, is positive, it opened up. If it was negative, it opened down. So this one was up, this was up, up, this would be down, this would be down. So I know that this one is opening upwards, and I'm bringing that up because I kind of want to fit everything on this one page. So I'm going to draw my x-axis right on that work. And I think all of the equations from this on assignment are opening upwards. So I think you'll be able to do the same thing. I don't think any of them have a leading coefficient is negative. That's negative, but I could be wrong. Okay, I'm putting my x-axis or my y-axis way over here because my two x-intercepts are both positive. If yours has a negative and a positive, you might want to put your y-axis more in the middle of the page. But since I have a positive 2 and a positive 9, I'm just going to kind of spread it out on the paper like that. So here's 2. And here's 9. So This is how you show your work to get your x-intercepts. Now, just having the x-intercepts is not enough to graph a parabola. You need the vertex. Well, you know that that vertex is going to be on the line of symmetry. So I keep going back to this chart because there's some important connections that we made here. We noticed that the vertex, the x-coordinate of the vertex, matches that line of symmetry. That line of symmetry is where you can fold your parabola and it just folds right on top of itself. So the vertex, the maximum or the minimum, it's always going to go, the line of symmetry is always going to go through that vertex because that's your maximum point or your minimum point. So we're using that connection and saying, okay, where's the middle of my two x-intercepts? So you can do that. We showed it on the notes on Desmos by just averaging the two x-intercepts. So for example, on this one, the two x-intercepts were 1.5 and -4. So we did -4 plus 1.5 divided by 2, which gave us -1.25. You can do that, or you might, like mine's easy enough, from 2 to 9, that's 7. Half of 7 is 3.5. So I could just do 1, 2, 3.5 from this direction, or 1, 2, 3.5 from this direction, and get that line of symmetry. So your line of symmetry, you want to write whatever it is. Now, you may be thinking, I don't know how to get the middle of my two x-intercepts. Then you just take your two x-intercepts and average them together. So for me, I could have done 2 plus 9 divided by 2, which would have been 11 divided by 2, which is 5.5. So my line of symmetry is x equals 5.5, and that is the x-coordinate of the vertex. X-coordinate of the vertex. Let's see. So you want to get your line of symmetry by averaging your two x-intercepts together. You want to put a dotted line where that line of symmetry is, and you want to write the equation for that line of symmetry. You want to write the words line of symmetry, and you want to write the words x-coordinate of vertex. Then, to get the y-coordinate, all you're going to do is, we showed it on the notes right here. For me, the x-coordinate of the vertex was -1.25. To get the y-coordinate, I evaluated of -1.25. So I just plugged in -1.25 into my equation to get the y-coordinate of the vertex. So for this one, I'm going to plug in, my equation was x squared minus 11x plus 18. So I'm going to evaluate that at 5.5. So I can use Desmos to do this. If this were a negative, I would have it in parentheses. Maybe I'll just put it in parentheses. Now from that point, if you want to use Desmos to just type that in, so I typed in 5.5. Now if this was a negative 5.5, I would have parentheses around that number. Okay, because if I didn't, it would not give me the right answer. So I have my y-coordinate for my vertex is negative 12.25. So f, for me, f of 5.5 is negative 12.25. So you have your two x-intercepts, you have your line of symmetry, you're going to plug in whatever that x coordinate is into your equation. Use Desmos. Be careful if this is a negative, put it in parentheses. And that's your vertex. So my vertex is 5.5, negative 12.25. And I didn't set this up to scale, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here and put negative 12.25. And I know that that vertex is going to be on the line of symmetry, and I'm just going to put a point right there. And there's my parabola. Okay, a lot of people kind of get a little burnt out at this point, so if you need to like rewind and take this a little bit more slowly, this is a 100-point assignment. It's going to be worth it to get it correct.